There hasn't been a new asset class since the bond market in 1693. Well, now there's a new asset class, and it is the digital asset space. The question is, are you participating? Hey, what's going on, guys? It's the Crypto Siege with another day in the crazy life that is the digital asset space. Good evening. Happy Thursday to you. Hope you guys have had an absolutely outstanding day today. Yeah, I came across some interesting stuff. I don't know. This executive order that the president just signed and announced that he signed, I don't know. It just feels like, I don't know if it's a big deal, if it's not a big deal. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to go over that a little bit as well. In addition to that, I'm going to go over another article from the Philosophy of Metrics and J.C. Collins from the Philosophy of Metrics. Going to go over that as well. Interesting one. I just, wow, so really good. The guy writes really, really well. And I think it's always important to kind of go back in time. So this is a read from 2018 that we'll check as well. So I don't know. I mean, you guys heard about the executive order, right? I mean, it's pretty interesting. Executive order on regulatory relief. Regulatory relief. I'm trying to wrap my brain around that. What exactly does that mean? Regulatory relief to support economic recovery. It's an interesting, I don't know. It's an interesting way to put things, right? Yeah, it's very, very interesting. You know, I don't know. I don't really know how to. Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out, guys, and I really don't know what is it about? Like, I saw that Bearable Bull mentioned something about it, but let me do this to my daughter. Like, what is that about? I'm trying to figure it out. You know, it's I don't know. It's like, and I don't know, no one's covering it, and I don't know, man. I just yeah, I don't know what to make of it, honestly. You know, I really don't know what to make of it. What is it about? What does that really mean? I mean, I went through it a couple of times, and I don't know. Is that saying that, you know, things that, or places or spaces or entities that are used to operating under certain regulations no longer have to operate under those regulations if the actions that they take fall under supporting the economic recovery? Is that what it is? I don't really know. I mean, what do you guys think? I'm asking because I don't know. It's hard for me to really wrap my brain around what this really is. Welcome. Thank you. You know, so I don't know. Like, what is that about? I mean, again, I heard, I did see that the Bearable Bull mentioned it in the title of his video. I didn't watch the video. Well, I did watch a couple of minutes of it, and it just I don't know. What is that about? And then we're going to go over this thing from J.C. Collins from the philosophyofmetrics.com. Interledger is the new world bank. I figured we'd go through that. That, I got to tell you, who is J.C. Collins? What is that all about? Got someone from Europe checking in on the channel. I'll have to get Miss Crypto Siege to understand that. I mean, to read that. I can't read that Russian, unfortunately, but I appreciate you being here, my friend. Привет. Wow. Maybe that's what that is right there. Maybe that is привет. So yeah. Very, very interesting, right? Who is this J.C. Collins guy? Very interesting, but whoever he is, he writes really, really well. He or she writes really, really well, and just great. I mean, some really, really poignant points about Ripple XRP, about XRP, I would say, and the Interledger. Have you guys checked out that site? Have you checked it out and just read some of the articles? There's actually a latest article from April of 2019. So yeah, so it's an interesting thing, right? Certainly when you read it, it gives you hope. It's not hype, but it does give you a lot of hope, and it makes a lot of sense when you go through his stuff. So anybody, any thoughts on this executive order? I would love to hear from you guys. Any thoughts on what that looks like? What that's about? You know, I don't know. Let me say, hey, while you guys are thinking on it, good evening. Good to see you, D. Kirshner. Good to see you in the stream. You're first as always. Rose, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you. Good evening, fam. It's Omer Rose, right? I don't know if you remember you saying something about that name. Crypto Universe is in the building. Is it Omer Rose or Rose? Please let me know. I don't want to jack that up. Win Mullet is in the building. What's up, Win Mullet? Good to see you on the stream tonight, brother. Giveson. What's up, my friend? Good to see you. I hope it's Giveson. Is it Giveson or Giveson? I think it's Giveson, right? It's French, is it not? Comedian Check Real is in the building. What's up, my dude? Good to see you, Chuck. Gabe T. Hello to you, Gabe. Morris Prince C7's in the building. Just when you've seen everything. What happened? Did the market go down? I didn't even check the numbers. I heard someone saying something about 3 or 5% loss in BTC. Doesn't matter. As long as the fundamentals are there with XRP and they continue to get better, doesn't matter. I hold my little bit of BTC, you know. Any thoughts on that? Bruh, XRP's in the building. What's going on? So any thoughts on this executive order, guys, before I go over it? I'm trying to wrap my brains around it. I don't what is it about? I mean, what does that look like? VeChain, let me put this up. Does this work? How does this work when I got that going on? Yep. VeChain burn rate went up today, folks. HODL as new partnerships are forged. 7 million. Oh, so they burned 7 million to the V though, right? The gas, right? The V though. Crypto Chris, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you in the stream tonight. Brazil Assets is here. I have to tell Miss Crypto C, someone checked in from, was either Russia, Romania, Ukraine, perhaps? The Crypto Caveman is in the building. What's going on, my dude? Good to see you. Yeah, without question. Corey Anderson is here. Good to see you. So that's cool. And hopefully we can, the people checking in from Europe. Oh man, Win Mullet, what's going on right there? What are you doing right there, Win Mullet? Win Mullet, what are you doing, my friend? Do you know how to write and speak in that language in Russian? Ralph Crandon is in the building. What's going on? Win Mullet, what's up, man? Do you know how to do that, my friend? Please share. If the EO doesn't make XRP the reserve currency, I think you're saying it doesn't matter. If the EO, Alex Jeet's in the building. What's up? What's up, Alex? Good to see you. Win Mullet, what's up with that? Oh, that was Google Translate. I'm about to say, what the world? Can I use Google Translate? Like how you? I can't use it like that, can I? Like just on someone. That's nice. Well, I appreciate you doing. I definitely appreciate you doing that. I'm like, what in the world? Yeah, you can't. Let's see. What does this say? Nope. Yeah, Miss Crypto Seeds would definitely want to copy, and yeah, I can't copy on this software. You can't copy you can't copy and paste, unfortunately, on here. So you only got to show it or hide the comments. But very, very cool. Very cool. So no thoughts. Let's go over this executive order because I tell you, I don't know. I know, Alex, I saw that. I saw that. But I tell you, I listened to so many interviews and AMAs with Alex Mashinsky. I hope he does a great job. I'm sure he will do a great job, I should say. I hope they ask some great questions. Let me share something here. Let's go over this executive order because I don't know. So this, I mean, whitehouse.gov, executive order on regulatory relief to support economic recovery. I mean, it's a long read. I don't know if I'm going to go over all of it, but I'm just trying to, what is this about? Why? Let me see, maybe read the definition. Let's read the definition. Emergency authorities means any statutory or regulatory authorities or exceptions that authorize action in an emergency and exigent circumstances for good cause or in similar situations. Okay. This is an interesting one. So, I feel like, oh no, it changed that. Okay. In December of 2019, a beer cold known as beer cold was first detected in Wuhan, Hubei province, People's Republic of China, causing an outbreak of the disease, which has now spread globally. The Secretary of Health and Human Services declared a public health emergency on January 31st, 2020, under Section 319 of the Public Health Service Act, in response to the beer cold. In Proclamation 9994 of March 13th of 2020, declaring a national emergency concerning the beer cold, I declared the beer cold outbreak in the United States constituted a national emergency. Beginning March of 2020, I have taken sweeping action to control the spread of the beer cold in the United States, including by suspending entry of certain foreign nationals who present a risk of transmitting the beer cold, implementing policies to accelerate acquisition of personal protective equipment and bring new diagnostic capabilities to the laboratories. Okay, so we know all that. Okay, so the beer cold has attacked the nation's economy as well as its health. Okay. It's attacked the nation's economy as well as its health. Many businesses and nonprofits have been forced to close or lay off workers in the last 8 weeks. The nation has seen more than 36 million new unemployment insurance claims. I have worked with Congress to provide vital relief to small businesses to keep workers employed and to bring assistance to those who have lost their jobs. On April 16th of 2020, I announced guidelines for opening up America again, a framework for safely reopening the country and putting millions of Americans back to work. Just as we continue to battle the beer cold itself, so too must we now join together to overcome the effects the beer cold has had on our economy. Success will require the efforts not only of the federal government, but also of every state, tribe, territory, and locality, of businesses, nonprofits, and houses of worship, and of the American people. To aid those efforts, agencies must continue to remove barriers to the greatest engine of economic prosperity the world has ever known: the innovation, initiative, and drive of the American people. By the authority vested in me as president, by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered as follows. Section 1, policy. It is the policy of the United States to combat the economic consequences of the beer cold with the same vigor and resourcefulness with which the fight against the beer cold itself has been waged. Agencies should address this economic emergency by rescinding, modifying, waiving Wow. Or providing exemptions from regulations and other requirements that may inhibit economic recovery. That is a lot right there. Agencies should address this economic emergency by rescinding, modifying, waiving, or providing exemptions from regulations and other requirements that may inhibit economic recovery, consistent with applicable laws and with protection of the public health and safety, with national and homeland security, and with budgetary priorities and operational feasibility. They should also give businesses, especially small businesses, the confidence they need to reopen by providing guidance on what the law requires, by recognizing the efforts of businesses to comply with often complex regulations and complicated and swiftly changing circumstances, and by committing to fairness in administrative enforcement and adjudication. I'm going to go over the rescinding thing again. Agencies should address the economic emergency by rescinding, modifying, waiving, or providing exemptions from regulations that may inhibit economic recovery. Wow. What does that look like? Is that perhaps a way? Is that perhaps a way? Wow, I don't know. Is that a way for it to move into this new quantum financial system? If they're able to rescind, modify regulations and the justification that it will help in serving the economic recovery, what does that look like? That could be a lot of things. What does that mean for digital asset? Is that the window in which the digital asset space can move into? Is this the window that allows the agency, the SEC, to perhaps with things that they were on the fence about to move forward with or on? Because they said agencies for a reason, right? And regular rescind or modify as well. I mean, guys, what do you think about that? That's pretty powerful. That it feels like to me that is a way, if regulatory clarity is the thing that we've been looking for, and we haven't been able to get it, and digital assets in some shape, way, whatever, can provide or is justified and it can add to some economic recovery. What does that look like for digital assets? What does that look like for XRP? I don't know. I find that to be a very interesting executive order. What does it look like? What does that look like for the digital asset space? Crypto Universe says that's just one aspect of the deregulation, just like what happened in aviation industry in the 80s. And what was the result of that? Wasn't the result of that a booming aviation industry? It was, because I remember I remember the number of flights increasing in major massive numbers. And perhaps that was one of the reasons, Crypto Universe, right? Able to spend more money, able to make more purchases, able to grow businesses without regulatory concern, if you will, so much. Like, right? What is that going to look like? So Crypto Universe, OSHA, the EPA, and the FDA, etc., deregulate some regulations impeding small businesses or citizens from minor infractions. Yep. So it's certainly addressing businesses and probably small business America as well. But who else? And what else? What other industry can look to this? And what other agency can look to this particular thing and say, well, this is a door for us to move forward? I don't know. Crypto Universe says yes to my question. Does it mean that in somehow, way, shape, form, or fashion, the digital assets can be moved into the space somehow? Is this the regulatory clarity that they're looking for? Is this the regulatory clarity window that they're looking for? I don't know. Department of the Treasury. Great point. Department of the Treasury. Great point, Crypto Universe. You're bringing it tonight, my friend. Great point. You know how he's been acting, right? I mean, Mnuchin is acting like he is the one, right? And so what does that look like? We all know where Mnuchin is. We all know he knows about MoneyGram using ODL and XRP. We all know, right? He's got a relationship in the past with, I believe, Brian Brooks, who is currently the COO of the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the OCC. Yeah. What does that look like? What does that look like? Very impressive. Corey Anderson says an overnight price set incoming. Well, what do you think about that, guys? What do you think about that possibility? I put the wrong thing down there. So Crypto Universe said Department of the Treasury, right? Mnuchin doing his thing. Very, very interesting. It opens the door for a variety of different things. Does it not? I believe it does 10,000%. I really do. Corey Anderson says, guys, overnight price set incoming. I know the Bearable Bull is bullish on it. Like, what does that executive order do? And I feel as though, who knows what's going right? Listen, we've always said this on this channel, and I've always said this, and I feel like the Donald has a plan. He has a plan. And no one can convince me that this dude doesn't, he may not be as intimately familiar with XRP as you and I are, but no one can convince me that he's not familiar with the company Ripple, a good old US of A company. And the greatest digital asset ever created, XRP. No one can convince me that he's not at least mildly familiar. It's just no way. His son-in-law at dinner. Yeah, it's just Kirsten's kid. Yeah, I'm not buying it. I mean, they've already had them, the people from Ripple, at the White House. So what is the Donald's plan? Right? What is the Donald's plan? Pat Starr says, hey, good to see you in the stream, Pat. I don't think I've seen you here before. Please hit that like and subscribe, my friend, if you haven't had a chance to do so yet. Well, why do I keep missing? Pat Starr says, more interesting than that executive order is check out the proposed Advancing Blockchain Act. That's a U.S. thing? That's not the Japan thing, is it, Pat? Is that a U.S. proposal, Pat Starr? Good to see you in the stream, bro. Yeah. So it just feels like that to me. You know how we have always said this, right? We've always said this on the channel. We've always said this. What's up, the Thunder Sound? Good to see you tonight, my friend. We've always said this. There is no way there is a zero, in my humble opinion, a zero possibility that Donald, the president of the United States, is going to let the technology from the good old US of A company Ripple and the opportunity to solve the global, at least have a major hand in solving the global economic crisis, which is illiquidity. And this good old US of A company has some technology and a digital asset that can speed up the velocity of money as a bridge asset and free up trillions of dollars in Nostro and Vostro accounts. And you're telling me that the Donald is going to let that opportunity to usher up from the seats to the front of the podium the good old US of A company? I just cannot see this man letting that opportunity slip. He's not. Do you think he's just going to, I don't know. Do you think he's just going to let Ripple just kind of do their thing in the background and help to free up trillions of dollars and a currency that can be used as a bridge asset, a digital asset that can be used as a bridge currency for the world, and he's just gonna just let that happen in the background. Where Japan will acknowledge and celebrate it, where Vietnam will acknowledge and celebrate it, where Latin America will acknowledge and celebrate it. Right? Just pick where India is about to acknowledge and celebrate it. Italy, perhaps, acknowledge and celebrate. All of these nations are going to acknowledge and celebrate XRP and what it does. And the Donald is just going to just let that, the whole liquidity thing and the trillions of dollars and the IMF, he's just going to let that slip. And he's just going to let that slip through his hands, and he's not going to leverage that. I mean, who in here cannot see the Donald parading to the front of the podium? Brad Garlinghouse. I can see it. I mean, I can see it. He likes to parade these U.S. companies up in front of the podium and how we're all working together. Because look, he doesn't have to make up, right? He doesn't have to make up. He doesn't have to fudge. He doesn't have to come up with some other fundamentals for XRP or about Ripple. He doesn't have to make that up. Though these are the facts. He doesn't have to make up the fundamentals behind ILP, the XRPL, ODL. You don't think he can point to MoneyGram and the fact that they're using this digital asset? I don't see it. I don't see this man letting that slip by. Because here's the thing that I also say: the WEF, the IMF, the World Bank, the BIS, the UN, just pick one of those powers to be entities. They all agree on cross-border payments and the challenges thereof. And a good old US of A company has the answer, and he's just going to. I just don't know. I just don't see him letting it go, letting that slip by. It's not the world's problem, but it certainly is the world's answer to all the world's problems. But it certainly is the answer to the problem of the friction in the cross-border payment space, without question. It is certainly that. And he doesn't have to go. He doesn't have. The great thing about it is he doesn't have to go somewhere in some other thing of other use cases that we know XRP can do and the ledger can do. It's easy to talk cross-border payments. Everyone gets that. Everyone understands that. Everyone feels that pain. The average everyday person in the good US of A that have family from abroad will relate, and they'll understand, they'll get it. You think they're gonna care? You think they're gonna care about XRPs as a digital asset and a cryptocurrency? They're not gonna care. But they hear cheaper and faster. They hear cheaper and faster in the Donald, right? With Brad Garlinghouse. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to check that out, Pat Start. You mentioned the name as well, right? Glenford hustled this industry, and good to see you, Glenford. How are you guys doing tonight? The enthusiastic siege, such vibes you put into it, caught our interest. Well, I appreciate you guys being tonight, Glenford. Absolutely. Right? Again, and I love that Garlinghouse says this, Big BG says this all the time. XRP is not going to solve all of the world's problem, but it's certainly, in terms of cross-border, they got that done. And they got that done. Is there now another member from Ripple on the Faster Payments Council? Right, Craig DeWitt, is that another one? Or is that a different one? I mean, what in the world? Every time you turn around, there's an exec from Ripple on something, whether it be the Global Steering Payments Committee or group, or whether it be the Faster Payment Task Force or Faster Payments Council, whatever it is, they're there. That's not a coincidence. I mean, just got named to the ISO 20022 standards body. I mean, what in the world? Who else is doing that? Who else in the payment space is doing that? I mean, I don't know. I just don't see it happen. I just got to tell you. And it feels like, to me, that's exactly right. That's another thing as well. Can anyone deny now that the current state run systems are too slow? Exactly. That's a good point there too, Calculon. Calculon says, you knew something was up when Trump started mirroring Ripple's sayings. I just have this gut feeling. I believe it was June 7th, D. Kirchner. I just had this feeling on the inside, and sometime in June, that this guy, like, he has a plan. And I don't know if XRP and Ripple is plan A, B, C, or D. I don't know, but I feel like the guy has a plan. I don't know what it is, but it really does feel that way. None of your business is in the building. What's going on, my friend? How you doing, Lamar Gomillion? Good to see you tonight. Gabrielle is here as well. Good to see you, Gabrielle. Right? I mean, it just kind of feels that way. Crypto Universe, thank you. Says, I'm with you, Siege, right? I don't feel like he's just going to let that by. Let me share this again with some of the people that just came to the stream and didn't get a chance to maybe hear this executive order. I think it's hugely important. I'm trying to wrap my brain around what does exactly this executive order do? What's the meaning? What's the purpose? And I'm just going to start here at the end, right? So basically, he's saying that they did something for the, they're responding. They responded as best they could. They went all in on the health challenges of the beer cold pandemic, but they also recognized that the beer cold pandemic caused serious economic challenges to the country. So, with that being the case, they needed to respond to that as well. And this is what the Donald says: by the authority vested in me, and by the let me read the title. So it's Executive Order on Regulatory Relief, regulatory relief to support economic recovery. And here it says, by the authority vested in me as president, by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered as follows. It is the policy of the United States to combat the economic consequences of the beer code with the same vigor and resourcefulness with which the fight against the beer code itself has been waged. Agencies should address this economic emergency. Agencies should address this economic emergency by rescinding, modifying, waiving, or providing exemptions from regulations. So not only can they modify or waive, they can rescind or provide exemption from regulations and other requirements that may inhibit economic recovery. Now tell me that's not a big window for people to operate in that may inhibit economic recovery, consistent with applicable law and with the protection of the public health and safety, with national homeland security, and with budgetary priorities and operational feasibility. And this is addition, okay? This is an addition. They should also give businesses, especially small businesses, the confidence they need to reopen by providing guidance on what the law requires, by recognizing the efforts of businesses to comply with often complex regulations and complicated and swiftly changing circumstances, and by committing to fairness and administrative enforcement, right? Make sure the small business people get some of that, right, relief, and it's not just all the big guys. Administrative enforcement and adjudication. What? So the business part is in addition. That's another thing. That's an addition to addressing economic emergency by rescinding, modifying, waiving, or providing exemption from regulations. Agencies should address this economic emergency. The business stuff is quite another thing. Agencies should address the economic emergency by rescinding, modifying, waiving, or providing exemptions and other requirements that may inhibit economic recovery. I'm hearing that the velocity of money has slowed down considerably. This is what I'm hearing, that the movement of money is practically non-existent. The movement of money is practically non-existent. This is what I'm hearing. And there's a digital asset that can speed up the velocity of money. Just ask Cryptopolis. This is what he says all the time. Peter Chung, good to see you in the stream, my friend. Peter Chung says, whatever he has planned, he better do it soon. If he wants to secure re-election, again, strategy dictates prompt action. No question. Great point, my friend. Appreciate you being here tonight, Peter Chung. Great point. And this is why we say on this channel, the Donald has a plan. This is not about being left or right or any of that. That's not my deal. But the Donald has, there's zero possibility that this dude does not have a plan. Zero. Yeah, Deep Mind. What's going on, brother? Super late to say what? Super late to the stream. Yeah, man. The President of the United States just put into effect an executive order on regulatory relief to support economic recovery. And I got to tell you, bro, it's a good read, my friend. Like, what is that looking like? And I think Crypto Universe is just nailing it tonight with his responses. I really do. So it makes you think. It really, really does make you think. Yeah, and Lebanon's got some issues as well, right? The boiling crypto, great points, my friend. Countries like Argentina and Lebanon need crypto and Bitcoin. I just read an article. I just shared a video, and I got a strike on my thing for it, but a warning rather about the Lebanon and what they did to prevent a bank run. Yeah, they cut them out. $200. I think it's $200 every 2 weeks or something crazy. So it went from $300 a week to $200 a week to $200 every 2 weeks in Lebanon. Yeah. So with their currency depreciation by the day due to the beer cold, and in Lebanon, it's already difficult to obtain foreign currency. Yep. So what if this was just an asset out there available to speed up the velocity of money, to act as a bridge currency, to free up the trillions and trillions? Someone said on the channel, what about those trillions of dollars that these banks got? Instead of giving the bank some kind of bailout, what about freeing up those trillions of dollars? What about that? What if that was the Donald's plan? And what if he did do something crazy like and announce that instead of the bailouts of the banks of the past, that the past presidents and the past I forget the term they call it. I forget what they call it, but not presidents, but their administration, past administrations. Unlike the past administrations, we're not going to give these banks a bailout. What we're going to do is free up the trillions of dollars that they have locked up in Nostro Vostro accounts. I mean, I don't know. Does that make sense? Is that a possibility? Is that plausible? How would that feel to the American people if the Donald said, unlike past administrations, we are not going to bail out the banks during this particular situation. We've got another solution to help them, to give them access to that trillions of dollars that they got tied up. I mean, I don't know. Wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be interesting? I don't think so. I don't think ETFs are great for the space, my crypto universe. I know they have them, but in other countries. Right. So, I mean, wouldn't that be interesting? And yeah, I mean, it's the former CEO of the DTCC, right? Is the chairman of a committee that I believe Ripple started, like, because he has nothing to do, because he's bored. I mean, the ex CEO of the DTCC, Mr. Donahoe, right? What is that about? Can we just think that's not a big deal? It's a big deal. He recognizes he recognizes the what's the word I want to use? He recognizes the brilliance in the technology. He gets what it can solve. I'm talking about Mr. Donahoe. It's Donahue, maybe it's Donahue. He gets it. That's why he's a chairman. There's just no other digital asset with led by a company where the executives are all over all kinds of steering committees, faster payments, right? Councils, global steering payments, whatever it is. There's no other company that's doing it. And I just feel like DeepMind, DeepMind says, just when I thought I was done buying XRP, right? Yeah, I'm done. I'm gonna go just do my VeChain thing now. But I mean, that executive order, I just think it's odd that no one's kind of covering it. I just find it odd. But Matt LaRose, what's going on, brother? Be careful on the roads, man. Be careful on the roads. I mean, do I need to read that again? If someone would like for me to read that, go through that one paragraph in that executive order, just let me know in the comments and I will read it again. It just feels really, really powerful. DeepMind says, whoa, exactly. I mean, what? And again, Crypto Universe is all over. I mean, talking about the agencies, right? The Department of Labor, the Department of the Treasury. What does that allow Mnuchin to do? Let's ask yourself that question. What does that executive order now allow Mnuchin to do? They've done everything. The Fed's done. What does that allow Mnuchin to now do? Because what the Fed is doing it's not working. What does this allow Mnuchin to do? I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting next 90 days. I can tell you that. Right? Paul Bogo is exactly right. Trump has a trick or two before November. He's got to have a plan. Right? Right? So it's just, I don't know. It's a very, very odd thing. Right? It really, really is. I mean, when you read that, my homework for tonight, absolutely, bro. Absolutely, DeepMind, right? So, wow. He can speed the digital dollar and XRP. Yeah. I mean, I mean, whoa. John Edwards, good to see you tonight, my friend. Why do I keep right? So Mnuchin has hit the green light to go, right? So I mean, has got the green light to go. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I mean, that's what it feels like to me. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's grandiose to think that the Donald could say, unlike past administrations, we're not going to bail out the banks. Can you imagine him saying that? We have a plan, but we got this thing that's going to free up trillions and trillions of dollars in the no social accounts. We're not going to bail out the banks with the American money, with the American citizens' tax dollars. Because I mean, you know what I mean. I could hear him saying that. What do you think that would do for his re-election possibilities if he came out and said something like that? And what if the overnight price set of XRP is in that equation? Someone mentioned the overnight price set, right? What if what was that, right? What if that's in the equation? In order to do it and free up these trillions, you need that XRP to be at a high price. That's what David Schwartz said. David Schwartz says XRP has to be at a high price in order to attack that no show count. I don't know. I like this though. Crypto Universe, you've been on it tonight, my friend. He can speed the digital dollar and XRP. It's a really powerful thing to think about. I've been thinking about it all day. I've been trying to come up with some different thoughts and ideas, like what does it look like? And I kept going back and forth for what I was going to cover today, and it led all the way up to not getting anything done until tonight. Because I'm like, do I want to just cover the normal stuff? Do I want to talk about generational wealth on a Thursday instead of Wednesday, right? Did I want to talk SSIs, right? Strong sound saving instruments? What do I want to cover? Then I remembered that I saw this executive order and I had emailed it to myself. And let's go over that. Let's see what the family thinks about this executive order. Paul Bogle, is that a title or headline from an article? XRP ripples ODL's popularity in Australia, triggers double-digit growth for the. Oh yeah, I do remember that, for the exchange BTC markets. Yeah, for the exchange or the entity BTC markets. I remember that. Yep, I remember that. Right, I remember that, Paul Bogle. Yep, I remember that. Saturn Net One says Trump isn't going to concede global power and influence to China when they implement their gold-backed digital asset. This may be the event that finally flips the switch. He said it. He said it. This is going to be great. We got a plan. It's going to, we'll start to see it. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic, right? He likes to talk. But we said on this channel that Donald has a plan. And again, I just don't see how he's going to let the good old US of A company slip. And its technology that is being globally recognized. Right? This good old US of A company and fintech company in San Francisco that is being globally recognized and touted for its technology. And he's going to just let that slip through his hands? I don't see it, my friend. I don't see it. I really don't. That's a great point, XRP Lava. There is nothing else except XRP to use. That has already been vetted. Regulatory compliant. Tens and tens and tens and tens and tens of millions of transactions on an XRP L ledger without a single error. Without a single error. Do you know how easy it is going to be for this man to usher up from the seats into the podium, or just to walk out with this dude? He might even, and I'm speculating here, but he obviously might even walk out of the White House with Mr. Garlinghouse in tow. What do you think Japan's going to? Here's another thing to think about. What do you think Mr. Yoshitaka and Japan is going to do with XRP? You want to talk about a nation? This dude's got a consortium of what, 50 or 60 banks in Japan? You don't think that he and they are going to tout and scream from the rooftops what XRP is doing? You don't think? Everyone in the XRP community is agrees on one thing. They are looking forward to SBI getting going with what they're going to do, right? SBI Ripple Asia. You don't think that we're talking 60, 50 or 60 banks, a consortium that Mr. Kantao is determined to have every single one of them use XRP? You don't think that Japan and its banks are not going to scream from the rooftops about XRP? Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see the Donald letting this opportunity slip by. I don't see him letting this slip through his fingers. I really don't. Right? Yep. If you look at the fiat league, Japan is a huge buyer. I just don't see him letting them slip by, guys. I really don't. Well, guys, listen, this is some, just wanted to give you some ideas, something to ponder, as my mentor would would love to say, likes to say. Japan wanted XRP to be the currency of the 2029 Olympics too. Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Katal said that. He mentioned it. So, and my point really is, this is a good old USFA company, and the Donald has a plan, and I just can't fathom them. Because listen, here's the thing, right? Ripple and its technology is doing its thing globally. They're not waiting around for the president and regulatory clarity. They're moving into the nations globally that have their clarity. And do you think that he's just going to let this company from the US do its thing, solving problems globally, and not get some credit for that? I don't see it. I don't see it. I really don't. Guys, check out that executive order. Let me leave. Hopefully this will work, so you guys can check this out. It's a great read, and it just gets you thinking, what does that look like? Deep mind, what is this going to allow Mr. Mnuchin to do? It's a great question. All right, guys, listen, thank you so much. 100 people and over 100 people on the stream. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight. Do me a favor and smash the like and hit the sub button if you haven't had a chance to do that. We always like to have just as many people, just as many likes as we have viewers in the streams. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. Guys, listen, I'm going to end this stream like I do all my streams. Thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight, and remind you of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather us remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating, or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought, and the victory is yours. Go get it. I'll talk to you soon, guys. See ya. Bye.